Hello everyone. Hola a todos. Voy a intentar hacer o vamos a tratar de hacer las cosas bilingües. We're going to try to do a bilingual stream today since it's Saturday. Es sábado. Usually on the weekends I can stream a little bit longer, but I do have a commitment today, so I'll only be able to stream for about an hour. Regularmente en los fines de semana sí estoy por más tiempo en línea, pero como tengo una cita hoy, nada más voy a poder estar aquí por una hora. Pero vamos a hacer todo lo que podamos dentro de esa hora. We're going to try to do as much as we can within that 1 hour. So let's get started. Vamos a comenzar. If I remember correctly, si me acuerdo correctamente, we were working on, estábamos trabajando en desarrollar los componentes de que aparecen cuando está obteniendo la información del servidor, el sistema. If I remember correctly, where we left off was the loading components for when the information is getting loaded by the server. And I think that's all we had left. I think we completed that. The only other thing that I had noticed was that I'm getting a bunch of these warnings because originally I had put a bunch of stuff in the styles, but I don't think we need that anymore, so I'm going to get rid of that. Me está dando mensajes por estos estilos que agregué, pero estoy pensando que ya como ya no vamos a necesitarlos, así que mejor es borrarlos para ya no tener esos errores. So we can get rid of all those warnings. Para quitarnos de todas esas advertencias que nos está dando. All right, so styles. Básicamente lo que hicimos es quitar los estilos que no estamos utilizando. We just removed the styles we're not using anymore. But we also can get rid of this. También nos podemos quitar esa línea. Everything should be working still. Todo debe de estar funcionando aún. Here's my topics. And I can go to my preview and see my previews. Puedo ir a los tópicos, agregar las preguntas y luego ver la preview of the data. La información que nos está entregando el sistema. Okay, so now that we have all that, ahora que tenemos todo esto, the last thing that we need is to save the configuration. Lo último que necesitamos hacer es guardar la configuración. So let's work on that next. Vamos a trabajar en eso ahora. So if I remember correctly, we had added into the store, en dentro de la tienda, habíamos agregado una manera de agregar toda la configuración. We had set up a call that we can use to save the configuration here. So set configuration object. Configuration object. Serialize for save. Esta era la función que necesito. I'm gonna need this function right here. Called serialize for save. Lightweight, state configuration, layout. So this is what we needed. This function right here, función aquí, it gets the state, meaning the actual everything that's in this store. Okay. by using get state. And then it creates a lightweight object, and it returns the lightweight object in the form of a string. Okay, that's what this return statement is. Está tomando toda la información que está dentro de nuestro tienda, our store, within our store, whatever, it gets all the data within the store. And then it creates an object, crea un objeto that keeps the layout, se mantiene con el layout correcto. Pero en los tópicos, but in the topics, it's just taking the ID of the topic, and then it's mapping through and getting the IDs of the questions. Nada más está tomando los identificadores de los tópicos y de las preguntas. So, think about it like this. Vamos a hacer un dibujo de lo que está sucediendo. So, the way that I can, let me just put it on here. So, the configuration object, el objeto de configuración, has a topic. Well, first, let's say this is the configuration object. Okay. And then the configuration object has, I think I drew this before. So here's the configuration object right here. Let me get rid of this because we have the configuration object. Tenemos el objeto de configuración. And the configuration object has topics. Tiene, el objeto de configuración tiene tópicos. And then within each topic, we have the FAQ item that has the entire data. Like it has the question, the answer, the ID, all of it. I can show you that. Te puedo mostrar lo que tenemos. I can show you that by showing you this. Vamos a ver. If we look at the preview component, maybe the layout selector. Here we go. Right here. Configuration object has the layout, which is accordion. And then it has the topics. And then each topic has the questions. Cada tópico tiene las preguntas. What we're doing is we're saying for the configured object, para el objeto que ya está configurado, we're just going to get the ID to make it a really lightweight object. And then for the questions, we're just going to get the IDs for those. Now you may be wondering, why do that? Está preguntándose por qué vas a hacer eso. Because there's a potential that somebody could change the question and the answer. You know, maybe another person comes in, logs in, and changes it. And it would not be good to have to open this configuration and modify it on all wherever this is placed. So there could be this. Let's say this hypothetically speaking is deployed to 20 pages. Vamos a decir que, por ejemplo, esta parte está puesta en como 20 páginas. Problema con eso, the problem with that is that if it's in 20 different pages, that would mean I have to go to 20 different pages, open it, resave it so that the data can refresh. And I don't want to have to do that. Por ejemplo, si está en 20 páginas, tendría que ir a esas 20 páginas y tener que abrirlo y tener que modificarlo y luego guardarlo otra vez, y eso va a ser mucha gasto de tiempo. So what we need to do is we need to add a button. Vamos a agregar un botón that saves the configuration, que guarda la configuración. Right, so let's do that. We need to go into, vamos a entrar a, I'm thinking we should be able to save it once we get to the question answer, or when we're in the preview, not so much under topics, but this, or maybe preview. Let's start by putting it in preview. Vamos a comenzar por ponerlo en el componente de poder ver lo que está sucediendo. So here in this preview, what we're going to do is basically once the user selects this, we're going to have a button that says save configuration. So let's just say action, and in the action button, we can have a function. Let's once goes use Webpart store. We're going to use the Zastan store. Vamos a usar esta tienda. Información. Let me open the Zastan. Here's the Zastan store. I'm going to put it to the side. Vamos a poner para un lado. So here we have a function called serialize for save. Serialize for save. And in this button, I'm going to have an on-click serialize for save. I think we can just put it like this. And then we're going to make it a button that has like a little save icon. Vamos a hacer un botón que tiene como un botón para guardar. Look at our icons. Save. And I believe it's called what is it called? Let me look at an action. Icon prop. And close this. Icon props. On name. Save. Okay. But this returns the string. We're also going to need the method to save it. Let's save vice versa. Then what we need is a part. We need to have the configuration. Okay. Perfect. Now, obviously, we're going to have an error. Your default layout. Right? That should take care of it. Let's go look and see what happens. Missing. Okay. So now this should change. We add our topic, we add our questions. Then here at the bottom, that we have a ID 1 for topic and the questions, then ID 9 for topic, and then the question, the identifier, the ID, which is what we want here. Obviously, we want to put configuration text to configuration. So once again, we add our topics, we add our question. Save configuration should go. See, this is empty. Oh. Layout is going to be accordions, and then topic is going to show topics. Perfect. All right, I think we're ready to do the final step, which is to load based on that configuration. Only thing we have left to do. So let's take care of that. So in here, we're using default layout. Default layout loads different sections, but we're not using configuration. But before default layout, we have a different component. Tenemos otro componente. We have a component called Webpart right here. So really, if we have the configuration, configured object, configuration. Okay, so how do we check here? I wonder if it can be put in here, and we can check if configuration right here. Config object. topics. And big object dot topics length greater than 0. Then we want to show something, otherwise something else. No, that's not what we want to do. Because remember, we have display mode. Display mode is being passed here. Let's go. Go to default layout. Display mode and display mode. What we need to change. Being passed. Configuration and configuration topic. Oh. Configuration. Topic. And greater than 0. So if we have in here, oh, configuration, this configuration. Why is configuration object an array? Makes no sense. Why would I set it up like configuration object? Configuration object should not be a configuration object. Oh, because JSON and configuration topics length is greater than 0. I think we need to determine first and foremost, we need to determine if display mode not equal to edit, then we need to determine giving me an error. You're giving me an error. Oh, giving me an error because I'm. There we go. So here, message bar. That'll work. So if the configuration object does not have any topics, then obviously no configuration topic has been found. What if it does contain topics? It does contain topics. We need to check what kind of setup it is. What that means is we look at we add our topics, we add our questions, and then we go to preview. What that means is if I click on these settings, yeah, it says accordion. Let's say accordion should say tabbed. If I say accordion this way, still saying accordion. I think the problem is that I'm not. Go to the preview section. And what needs to happen in the preview section in this here, set, you have to have a setter for layout. Set layout selection. And then when we switch, on the click, we need to change this function. Set was that layout select. That layout selection. Layout at this right. This should. What that means is if I go here and here, and right now it's untabbed, this accordion should change to tabbed. It does not. What if I change it to, yeah, no. Why did it not change that? Hmm. I guess by default, it should be at the default. Um, Now, if configuration object, now that we have that, the next trick is we checked for topics. If topics exist, then we need to show that. How does each of these? So we have all of these. Let's just go to tabbed. So layouts. Here's our FAQ layouts folder. So accordion, what does accordion expect? It just expects the configuration object. But I do think that we have that in our Webpart store. Load from. Okay, so load from config is what we need to use. Load from lightweight. Doesn't make any sense. Why would you need all topics and all questions? Us. Gonna have to change. Okay. Okay. So this needs to be changed. We need to create a FAQ container component. Let's go to had somebody chat on YouTube. You're doing great. People need to watch this. Thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know if it's sarcasm, but I appreciate it. Need to create a component. I'm going to create a new. Let's create a new folder. We're going to call this FAQ main. That import all as React from React. This is going to be a React functional. And inside FAQ main, we're going to put a React fragment. And this is going to have the main component, but we're going to need this configuration. I said was already the object. So we have the object. So we can use what we had in the store, which is this load from config, but it's going to need all topics and all questions. I'm going to try it this way, but I don't know that this is going to be the best way to do things. Voy a tratarlo como está configurado aquí, pero no creo que esta es la mejor manera de hacerlo. I think this is something earlier in my streams I had AI help me with, but I'm not entirely sold on this methodology doing this. Because it's asking me to bring in all topics and all questions. So let's just fulfill what it wants. So load from config is what we're gonna need. Once was use Webpart store. This is gonna use config. Okay. And we said that it needed all the topics and all the questions. But do we have a for that for all topics? Where is it? Topic. FAQ topics. Apparently we do. So use FAQ topics is fix. And we're gonna need what else? All the question. We should have a hook for all the FAQ items. Use FAQ items. Fetch all FAQ items. So FAQ items is that. FAQ items. And so now, since we have both of those, we're gonna go to our Webpart store, and it looks like it wants config JSON. The load from config is going to return that. Okay, so this is gonna set the. Okay, I seem to be understanding. I think I got it. Okay, so here we go. Uh, load from config, and we're gonna need the layout, which is we're gonna need the config JSON. So the config JSON is gonna come from configuration object, this right here. But why do you need why do we need the configuration? Oh, look, what is the configuration used for? And it's parsing it again. So I just need this. I believe this is not to be the string. All right, and then main component. So, and get rid of this parse. And then here, under main, type FAQ props, and we're gonna need the same configuration string, AQ main. Gonna be this configuration. Okay, and that's gonna set our configuration object. Now that we have our configuration object, get rid of this. Now here, main. Now file. Well, okay. Now add all my topics, add all my questions. I'm gonna say about duration. I'm gonna publish. Column undefined. Let's see. FAQ main. Column undefined does not exist. First, turn ID equals never. So default layout loads FAQ main. FAQ main loading these. Use FAQ items. Return all of them. The definition. Fetch all FAQ items. Go to definition. My biggest question is why. Element defined not exist. The only thing I can think of. Okay, so what loads first? In main, we're getting FAQ topics. So let's go to sources. We're gonna go FAQ topic. Right? We're fetching all the topics. Put a break. Pressure. Okay, so the topics are loading. Maybe the issues with the questions to QAPI. We're getting fetch all FAQ items. Here's all the questions. So the loading of the data is the APIs are working. What is the issue? Element defined does not exist. FAQ topic by ID. Why would it give me that error? Does the web part try to do something like that? Okay, so it gets the JSON string, all the topics, all the questions. Otherwise, return topic array with the bugger. Um, you don't understand where this error is coming. Error fetching FAQ items. Error fetching FAQ items. Well, that obviously coming from the FAQ API. Column undefined does not exist. I don't understand. because all we're doing is loading this component, and then this component loads these two things. Load from config. I'm going to put a breakpoint there. This is going to be on the FAQ main. So let's put a breakpoint right here. Now refresh it. So the topics are there. The items are there. Configuration is here. Topics, FAQ items, good. Returns this. Why is it doing this so many times? No sense at all. Let's get rid of this load from config. I didn't agree with it in the first place. We're gonna put console log topics. Oh, it should get rid of the error. Good. Now we can inspect this component. So the issue is definitely with the Webpart. We have our topics, our items. The world we live in. I'm working on web development, more specifically on SharePoint development. I'm building this web part. Essentially, the way it's going to work is users can come in, edit the page. They're giving steps where they can select the topics that they want to have visible in the application. And then they're going to be able to preview it. And then what happens is, say, for instance, they select image layout. They save this configuration. Then when they publish it, they should be able to see these questions. Or say they want to have accordion layout, they should be able to see the accordion version of it. So save configuration, and when they publish it, they should be able to see the way that it looks in the preview, essentially. So that's what I'm working on. But right now, the problem is that I had AI help me with some of this. And I'm thinking that this is not the way to do things, because messing up on this function right here. And I think it's probably messing up here somewhere. So config layout, config topics. Topic, it has a map filter with a boolean. Like, this whole function doesn't make any sense to me. To me. Set config layout configuration object config. Yeah, so that doesn't make any sense. But I think I have an idea. Let's do this. And this. And save that. And then we're going to inspect it. Go to sources. Here. AQ main. And let's go into this by adding a breakpoint. We should be able to go into the step. Go from config. Use store. I'm trying to figure out. Go from config. I don't know why this gets hit so many times. Because it shouldn't be doing that so many times. Now, obviously, I get this error. Column undefined does not exist. Doesn't make any sense. And it's coming from the FAQ items. The first error looks like it's coming from FAQ items. They're both from error fetching FAQ items. When I look at that error, now it's FAQ topic by ID, which for the life of me, I don't know why I would be getting that kind of error when I'm never doing anything in here. And it has this error. This one right here. So again, it should not be happening because I am not making any calls to this API or to the other API. This one. The only time I'm making calls to these is I think I know what the issue. Let me try something. Go here. Let's take these out of here. And then go to the parent component of this, which is default layout. And in default layout, where we're gonna use it. So right, we're gonna use it. Loading. And then we're gonna make it wait. If configuration, then we're gonna load this, but here gonna is loading, or they're loading. Gonna put a generic loader. Otherwise, gonna return, move this in here. Okay, and now to this, gonna need to pass it FAQ topics. We're gonna need to pass it FAQ item. Okay. Now FAQ topics and FAQ items. And then in here, FAQ topics, FAQ items. Now we shouldn't have that issue. There are still things. No sense to me whatsoever. Message. Column undefined does not exist. If AI is any help in this scenario. I really think it's already 6 o'clock. I'm gonna have to leave it there. I'm gonna have to come back to this issue. I thought that if I could keep main from loading until I have all of my data, it would get rid of that error, but it's still not doing so. And I'm not entirely sure why. Because so the issue is definitely in the function load from config. Somewhere along the line, that's what's breaking everything. But anyway, I have to go. Sorry. So, but I will be back tomorrow, hopefully for a little bit longer time, so that I can do a little bit more development. But thanks for joining me. See you next time. Peace.